You can smell that like 5 feet above the glass.
I like this at least twice as well.
I smell metal and grease.
Nobody should be putting this stuff in their body.
Tell me about your childhood, James.
Rabbits are like slippers.
You broke me.
Paul has to push the microphone away.
To be honest, I don't really know the difference
I know.
between Ohio
It's
and
the same
Wisconsin.
thing. What am I dealing with?
Welcome back to Whiskey Uncut. I'm your host, Paul, joined today by James.
Hey.
He's got a hat on.
We're live.
We are live. We are live from Jigz Liquor in Gainesville, doing a barrel release of Jack Daniel's Rye.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't even remember when we picked this. It's like we pick a lot of them, and there's always a huge delay between them, but I remember being really impressed by it. I've become kind of a JD fan over the past couple of years, and so I was really looking forward to it.
Now, I'm hoping someone who's watching this live will write a quick comment and let us know that the audio is in fact working on their end.
Yeah, and if you heard the intro, because we spent a lot of time on a cool intro, and we were hoping the people that were live heard it.
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we're going to be recording this for upload later. So, again, this is Whiskey Uncut, the podcast. So if you want to download the audio show, go to Spotify, iTunes, etc. But we're also, thanks to one of our subscribers who's going to help me out with video editing, we're going to be getting the videos up on the YouTube channel, Whiskey Uncut also. I haven't had time to do it for this season yet because I'm just crazy busy with work, but he's going to be helping us out with that. So in addition to the Jack Daniel's release from Jigz today, we're going to be trying some of their other products and hopefully having some of these nice people waiting in line joining us on the show later if they want some samples and they want to talk about what they're tasting. We also have shirts. We have the little tasting kits that are available all on patreon.com/maltmondays is the Patreon that we run the Whiskey Uncut show through also. So where should we start today, James? Should we just start with standard Jack Daniel's single barrel or the standard rye and then go to the single barrel?
Yeah.
And then do the store pick and kind of see how they compare.
Yeah, let's start with the base product, see what it's like. And then if I remember correctly, there's a pretty big jump between the standard JD rye and their single barrel. And then I may have snuck a little taste while you were setting up the microphones. And I think there's a pretty clear difference between the Jigz pick and the standard single barrel.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation. I really want to have some people come over and get their thoughts on it. I'm always kind of curious to see, we mentioned this before, when you pick these barrels, do you pick what you want or do you pick what you think other people will like?
Right.
And for a lot of times for people like you and I, there's a big difference between those two things. And so you always hope you land somewhere in the middle where it's something that we really enjoyed and other people like. So I'm really interested to get people's feedback.
Okay. Now,
give them some other booze that they can try because we brought some fun stuff with us.
Now, I haven't had any Jack Daniel's rye before. I've had
Never?
I've had their regular Jack Daniel's. I've had Gentleman Jack. I've had single barrel bourbon. I've had private picks of the single barrel bourbon. I've had pretty much all the bourbons or Tennessee whiskeys. We could debate whether or not that's the same thing.
It's bourbon, but yeah.
Bourbon.
Let's not offend anybody.
Filtered, so. But I've had all their standard products, but I haven't had any of their rye whiskey before, so I'm really excited. Even though rye isn't always my favorite, I'm really excited to try it.
It's a pretty tame rye. I don't know what the mash bill is on these. I'm sure somebody out there
has
probably done their homework.
I like the aroma already on the standard.
Yeah, it's
really pleasant.
They're very mapley. They're more on the sweet end of the profile. They're less. They're not quite as they're not that aggressive 95% rye MGP stuff you're going to get. These are definitely made for sipping. And the rye, just the standard rye, is great in a cocktail.
So the standard rye starts at 90 proof, and it says they use 70% rye grain. So this is in addition to being charcoal filtered and maybe a little bit softer than most ryes would be. We're also looking at something that's not 95% rye, like a lot of ryes typically are nowadays, I would say.
Yeah, it's fine. If you're drinking it neat,
I like this way better than regular Jack.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Much better.
For sure. If you're drinking this neat, it's going to be thin. It's definitely between the charcoal filtering, like you said, and the lower proof. It's thin on the palate. It hits and sort of disappears. But the flavor profile itself isn't bad, which is why I really like it in cocktails. I think it goes really well.
Now, I actually don't think this is that thin. I
Oh,
mean,
I think it's super thin.
okay, now it's going to be thin compared to the cast strength ones,
Oh,
but
well.
I think this is perfectly acceptable for drinking neat. I don't.
Well, none of these are cast strength, so even the single barrel we picked is 94.
Okay.
But you'll notice a big difference in mouthfeel
Yeah.
when you move through these. Even though there's not a huge difference in proof,
Okay.
just the mouthfeel is entirely different.
Now, to me though, like this is such a huge step up from regular Jack Daniels. I'm like kind of blown away.
Well, and what's the price?
So I bought the half size bottle, and the half size bottle was $17.
Okay.
So usually there's a bit of a markup for the half size bottles. So I would expect that the 750 is going to cost somewhere around $25.
Well, let's find out.
If James will check for us.
Looks like 25, anywhere between $23 and $26, depending on where you pick it up.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's a really good deal, actually. I mean, for a 90 proof rye, and much better than their standard product, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you're making a huge jump. So the next one is essentially doubling the price as we go from this base rye to the single barrel and the Jigz pick. You're looking at about $50.
The single barrel smells like smokier.
It is. It's richer. It's heavier. It's definitely more robust, and it's a neat drinker. Like I don't know that it would go well in a cocktail, but it's good just sipping by itself.
Yeah, this already smells much more complex. Now, did you went and talked to some of these fine folks?
I did,
right?
yeah.
Did you lock anybody down after they buy a bottle?
Well, they all seem really interested. Then they realize they have to talk into a microphone, and
okay.
they get a little bit shy. But I think we're going to get somebody over here.
So we got to grab somebody on their way out.
Yeah, we'll
'cause
get
nobody
people.
wants to lose their spot in line.
Well, especially if they try a couple samples inside, then they come out,
yeah, that's
get a little loosened up.
That's
and then
true.
We'll give them some more, and they'll be fine.
and the single barrel rye smells so. Full disclosure, I'm not a fan of Jack Daniel's standard whiskeys. They're standard Tennessee whiskeys. These
Yeah.
ryes, I really am digging.
Well, and you liked the higher end Jack Daniels I brought you. Like I brought the Heritage Barrel with me today. I brought the Tenure. You liked all those.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. But
They're nothing like, I'm not going to.
But it's not like my favorite.
mind. The Tenure, though, I will say, is one of my favorites. The Tenure age stated is delicious. But regular Jack Daniels to me was always like a Jack and Coke kind of thing. Like I'm going to mix it with something sweet that covers up the flavor of the whiskey, right? And just is a nice, easy drinking cocktail, simple. But the single barrel rye. I remember when it first came out, I was not a fan of JD at all. And I was like, damn, that's good. And then they came out with the single barrel strength bourbon, and then they had me because that one has a little bit of banana to it. It has a little bit of that caramel note, kind of like a burnt like dark chocolate or a burnt dark sugar, and it's just amazing.
you say that like there's just this magical thing that happens when a whiskey goes to cask strength, and because that one was cask strength, right?
Yeah, and it's single barrel
Yeah.
barrel strength. But they also, you got to remember Jack Daniels makes billions of barrels, right?
Right.
So they're going through and they're really cherry picking their best barrels for
Right.
these releases.
But even still, like I have just found that so many whiskeys, it's the rare exception that the cask strength version is not like substantially better.
Oh yeah.
Whatever it is, when you water that whiskey down, there's a lot of the character that gets lost. Even when you water it down, even just a little bit, depending on the whiskey. Now, some whiskeys I think water helps when they're at cask strength, but generally speaking, that cask strength whiskey is just such a huge step up that it can really change your mind about a product from a distillery that you don't normally love,
Well,
and really
yeah.
make you realize that how much is lost in translation from the whiskey that the guys at the distillery are making and the product that gets put out by the time you go through marketing and the people in accounting who want to water it down and sell
Right.
more bottles.
And you got to keep in mind too, they're almost entirely different products because almost all the barrel strength ones are a limited release, they're a small batch release, or they're a single barrel.
Yeah.
Everything else they release, they're just blending tons and tons of barrels together to get a very consistent profile. So the whole point of what they're doing is different. Like for the standard Jack release, they just want something that tastes the same every single time. So they're blending thousands of barrels together. They're going through and individually picking different barrels. So your target audience is different, your target profile is different. And with single barrels, you don't care that much about profile, right? The whole point is that each barrel is going to be a little bit different. As long as it tastes remotely like Jack Daniel's, they're pretty happy with it. So yeah, but in general, you know me, the higher the proof, the happier I'm going to be.
Yeah, so I do want to call out. So One Nation in the comments said the Frank Sinatra edition is fire. Have you had that one?
I have.
I've seen it on the shelf. When I used to work at Dorn's, we had a bottle for sale, and I want to say it was for sale for $150.
That's about what it was. Yeah, between 130 and 150, even up to 200 in some places when I would see it on the shelf.
And that was very early on in my whiskey journey, and I just remember thinking like, that has to be delicious. It's so expensive.
Like it's expensive. It
Right.
has to be good.
But I was a poor college student, and so I didn't ever buy it to try it. And Jack Daniel's. Here's my rule, James. When I go to a distillery, I try to try pretty much everything that they offer, starting from the base up to the premium tier, because
Right.
I like to get the full concept of the distillery. Now, you and I differ on this because you like to just go full hog in on the special limited release bottles.
Yeah, I don't care about.
You
the
don't
other
care
stuff.
about standard.
I don't care about the other stuff. No, I'm there. I'm there for the good things.
But at the time, I was very much, and I'm still kind of the mindset. Like, if I try your standard bottle and I don't see something redeeming in that bottle, I'm very unlikely to go out and spend money on your other products.
Come on, Paul.
Now,
You know better than that.
I'm getting.
We've tried ones on here that the base product is garbage,
Yes,
and then you go up and they're really nice.
yeah. Well, that's less of a problem now because I've tried so many of the base products of distilleries that you kind of get to do that. But at the time, I was very limited financially when I was in college, so I was pretty much could only afford the base product, and then I had to really save up for the nicer bottle.
Is this when you only had a Mustang instead of a Corvette?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the lean days for Paul when he was just driving around a
Yeah,
fancy
only because I
Mustang.
worked so much during
Ah,
college.
yeah. I
All
get
right.
it.
Now, that point still stands. So that's why I never tried the Frank Sinatra. But Jonathan Richardson says there's two different Frank Sinatras, and they're both very good.
There is. There's the regular, and then there's the Centennial, as far as I know. And the Centennial is much more expensive than the regular one.
So it must be better.
Yeah, exactly. We're just scaling up here. I tried the original one, and my opinion of it was that it's better than regular Jack Daniel's, but I would not have spent $130 to $150 on it. It's still low proof, and it still felt thin to me, but it was much, much better than anything I had tried from them at the time. Right now, I'll hands down, I'll go buy the single barrel proof, but for half the price without even blinking.
Okay.
But it was good. I've never tried the Centennial. I heard the Centennial is great, but that I think was $300 plus, and I just, that's out of my league.
Yeah.
For Jack Daniel's, that's way out of my league. I'll buy that and some other bottles, but for Jack Daniel's,
But that's still, that's at the upper limit for both of us of what we ever consider spending on a bottle. So,
yeah. Like I'll drop if it's super rare and it's in an age range I like and it's a high proof, I'll drop a couple $100. But for me, the gap between 200 and 300 is absolutely astronomical.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of top tier bottles out there for $199. That's a splurge for me that I'm okay with. You get up to 3 though, like I don't know. I used to pay $300 back in the day for like Stag.
Yeah. Well,
because I'm a damn dinosaur when it
those
comes to
days
bourbon.
are gone.
And so for me, $300 means a lot because that used to give me some pretty badass bottles.
Yeah. So I should mention for those watching on YouTube, they are watching through Malt Mondays. We now have a Whiskey Uncut YouTube channel. So everything that's just related to bourbon and rye and stuff will be going up on that channel. The Scotch-related content that we do on the show will still go up on Malt Mondays. But YouTube limits you to live stream to having 1,000 subscribers or more. So at least until we get the Whiskey Uncut channel caught up, the live streams that we do for the show will continue to be on the Malt Mondays channel. But the weekly uploads, which thanks to Corn Cake will start getting up there, those will be going on the Whiskey Uncut channel. And Corn Cake chimed in and he said, "You guys are the best. They say you can't be smart and beautiful, but that's obviously not true."
I like Corn Cake.
Thank you, Corn Cake.
By the way, Corn Cake, I'm going to be in Columbus at the end of April.
Ah.
So I need to arrange to
A
meet
meet
up
and
with
greet.
Corn Cake. Yeah.
Yeah, take him for a good dram of whiskey.
I will. I have a funny feeling I'm going to have some bottles given to me while I'm there. So I'll bring
Nice.
some stuff back. So I'll crack a few with Corn Cake.
Oh man. All right, let's try this.
So you never gave me your opinion on the
Oh,
single
I did.
barrel.
I said it was really good.
Yeah, but like
Oh my gosh.
come on. Be better than that, Paul. There's
So
people out there waiting for your opinion. they're just
saying something's delicious,
with
not an
with
opinion.
bated breath. They want to know what notes you're picking up in this thing. And how does it differ? I mean, it's much richer. To me, it's spicier.
So I get way more of like I said, it smells smokier to me, like a lot more barrel toast, not like peat smoke. I get significantly more like baking spices, so like cinnamon, those kind of like dry spices in there.
It's much more rye.
Yes.
Like it's undeniably a rye.
Yeah, you get more of that bready kind of character to it also. But it's not particularly dill or minty.
No, I think you're right.
Still a
It's-
softer rye.
It's cinnamon and baking spice. It's on the sweet end of the profile. I think most Jack Daniel's stuff to me is sweeter, and this certainly falls in line with that.
Now, we need to get one of these people on here before they leave.
Everybody ran away.
Do any of you guys want some samples of other Jack Daniel? Once you get your bottle, come out, and if you want to come on the podcast briefly,
That's the thing, though, is you
and
have
get
to
to
come on the podcast.
right, and get to try some of their other stuff. But we'd love to have you guys on.
We'll see who else is in there, too. I talked to them. They have pizza. They're leaving. So
Oh, that's unfortunate. I could
know.
go for some pizza.
Yeah, she should come over. We'll make a trade. We'll give you whiskey for pizza.
I do think because this release is later, I think people are trying to get home.
Well, it's weird because there doesn't seem to be any like consistency with it. Like sometimes you release ones that are big brand names and everybody shows up, and it sells out immediately. And there's a line of 50 people out here.
Yeah, what was the last one? Old Elk?
The last one was
That we were here for. Was Old Elk.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, and that sold out quick. Then the last release they did was on like a Saturday morning at 9, and I refused to go drink whiskey at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Like I like whiskey, but that's pushing it. So
Yeah.
I didn't actually come to that one, but I think there was a decent line. But that's not ideal for us to come broadcast. Like this
Yeah.
is better timing for us.
This is better, although it is incredibly humid and warm for the.
Ugh, this is brutal.
Just like right before we started podcasting.
Dude, it's like 2 days ago, it just became humid all of a sudden. Like Florida is so weird. It's just an odd climate.
It's terrible. So, comparing Jig's release to the standard single barrel rye, what are your thoughts, comments, concerns?
The nose is just a lot brighter, and that's the one thing I remember from picking this was that it was just really aromatic. It popped out of the glass for you. There was some like citrusy notes in it that I didn't get in the standard barrel, but you still get
Yeah.
that nice backbone of rye spice. And I really enjoy having the citrus notes with the rye spice because I think it balances it out a little bit, so it's not too harsh on the nose.
Yeah, I would say there's almost like this bright candy apple that I get like popping off on the aroma to this, or like a lemon lozenge kind of.
Yeah, that's what I was getting was like lemon peel
Yeah.
almost with like brown sugar.
Yeah, that it's. I don't know that I would say it's maybe like inherently better, but it's significantly different. Like
It's more along the profile that I appreciate, but I could see somebody thinking they're similar but it's brighter in general in my opinion.
yes, it's much brighter.
And it's surprisingly like I don't usually get
It's like
this
fresher.
Yeah. I don't usually get this bold of a nose off of a 94 proof. And so I mean I remember that really jumping out. Jonathan, if he's still listening to us, could probably jump in. But I remember that being one of the things that really stood out when we picked this was that it just had a really nice nose on it.
I definitely like the way it tastes better. So it's less mellow to me than the standard single barrel. It kind of rolls around and changes a little bit more. But that fruitiness and the citrusy character definitely pops out and kind of comes in waves a little bit when you taste it. So to me, it tastes a little bit younger, although I don't know if that's the case. It's just a little less of the oak barrel influence to me, and a little more of that rye pop.
And you know me, that's sort of the way I lean these days. I prefer brighter, like I don't want to say less mature notes, but I want to taste what the whiskey's made of rather than just tasting barrel. And
Yep.
so, and I think we did a good job with this. I think if you give this to somebody who's had a lot of whiskey and they're a rye fan, they're going to dig it. It's slightly different than what you normally get. It's not that huge, heavy rye bomb that you get in a lot of MGP bottles. But if you give it to somebody that's a relative newbie, it's a good entry level rye in terms of flavor profile.
Yeah.
It's sweeter. It's not going to blow you away with a ton of cinnamon or dill.
And so what I think is interesting is like if you took these two whiskeys and you gave them to someone blind, I don't know that you would be able to tell that they were the same whiskey but different barrels. I'm not sure.
Probably not.
Like I really don't. I think you would just guess that they were two different releases. And to me, that's what's so cool about single barrel products because there's like 75% of these whiskeys that's the same. The identity is the same. That base is the same, but there's just like this little layer on top that totally makes the difference. And you know, this is something I was explaining. One of my friends, Mario, if you're listening, he's probably not. He doesn't love me enough
Maybe
to
he
listen
will
to the show.
later.
But you know, he was a staunch non-believer of different whiskeys tasting different. He's like, they all taste the same. They
Oh,
all,
seriously?
yeah.
So he probably hadn't had many whiskeys.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, wine tasting, it's all a scam. Whiskey tasting, it's all a scam. And I'm like, Mario, they definitely all taste different.
Yeah, they're all different.
Now-
Even I just picked a barrel of rye from Wisconsin, and they were sister barrels, and they tasted different. Like
Yeah.
they were literally distilled on the same day, barreled on the same day. One was barrel 44, one was barrel 45. They spent 8 years right next to one another, and you could still tell the difference between the two. Blind, I could pick
Yeah.
each one.
Yeah, so this to me is like the perfect whiskey to kind of showcase like how different individual barrels are, but also how dramatic just that one factor can be in the flavor profile of a whiskey. Much less you start talking about whiskeys with different mash bills and different, distillation processes, whether it's a column still, pot still, like all those factors. It's just like this is one of those whiskeys where it really makes you appreciate, in my opinion, single barrel releases because you can know that you like one, and that gives you a good sense that you'll like the other one. Not always, but generally. And you're going to get enough different that it's a unique, and it doesn't feel like you bought two of the same bottle. Whereas if you buy the standard Jack Daniel's rye, it's going to taste basically the same every single time. But when you buy the single barrel, and especially a store pick, like when you do the store picks, and I think you said you helped with this one, right? Yeah. So you guys are, if a store is actually having people taste it and pick it out rather than just asking, hey, give us a store pick, you would hope that the people picking that are going to be going for something that's a little bit less of the standard flavor or something that's a little bit above that standard flavor.
Yeah, and that's really a conversation we have every time we pick a barrel. Do you want to go with something we got some music in the background? That's nice. Some mood music while we're talking about the bourbon. So, we talk about that every time. It's, do you want to pick something that is completely different, that's just novel and has an entirely different flavor profile, or do you want to pick something that is in the wheelhouse that definitely is representative of what that product is, but just like amplified?
Yeah.
And this one I think was a little bit of both. Like it has the DNA of JD. It's sweeter. It's not minty. It's not dilly. It's got those baking spices in it, but it adds that extra dimension of that, like you said, that lemony kind of, just note right up front that's a little bit different. And to me, like, I think barrel char the difference between like one pick being or one single barrel being a little more woody than the other is always very easy for me to pick out, and the other one is citrus. Like citrus just jumps out because I don't get a lot of citrus on bourbon. Or on rye a lot of times. So when it's there, it just jumps out. It's a little bit harder to pick out distinct differences between like, oh, this one has a little bit more brown sugar, or this one has a little bit more of that. But citrus and wood jump right out. So I think when we tried this one, I remember everybody being on board on this pretty quickly.
Yeah, so Jonathan Richardson said we argued about what we were looking for in this one quite extensively. But this one was bright and a little bit more sugary, and that was kind of what stood out. And I agree. I mean, I think as far as ryes go, I really appreciate that this is, to me, I feel like this is a perfect transitional rye for a bourbon drinker to somebody going into the category, looking to start drinking more rye, because it's not nearly as spicy as something like a New Riff rye, single barrel rye, or a Woodford cast strength rye, or a lot of other 100% or 95% rye whiskeys. It's a 75% and it's filtered, so it softens it up a bit. And to me, it just gives you this fantastic balance of being more rye forward than like a high rye bourbon, but not so spicy that it might be off-putting to someone who's not as inclined towards those spicy flavors.
Yeah, I think
it just makes a very balanced whiskey.
This is a bottle that if somebody came over to my house and they were like, hey, I just really don't like rye, I'd be like, all right, we'll try this. Like, I think I can probably change your opinion. I wouldn't hand them like the Old Pepper that we picked a while back. I wouldn't hand them a Redwood Empire, like 4 or 5 year rye that tastes like a forest. Like that's just a entirely different flavor profile. But this, I think is pretty crowd pleasing.
Now, One Nation's asking, what's the price point on this?
This is $50.
$50?
Yeah, $49.99 for the single barrel.
And what's the hi? Oh, we're doing a podcast about whiskey.
Are you a whiskey fan or? Oh, we have somebody that's a whiskey fan.
So we're doing there's a store release today of a new barrel. So if you would like to try, or if one of you would like to try some of the Jack Daniels, come on the show with us.
Yeah, they have samples inside.
Briefly.
You can try this inside, then come on out and tell us what you think. Oh, it's good. It's really good.
It's really good. So
and follow our podcast. We're local. You guys are the first one to come up, so we appreciate it. Yeah, so we're trying all 3 of them, but this is the pick. The 750 here is the pick.
But if you'd like to try either of them, let us know. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is our virtual tasting kit. So on our Patreon, if you subscribe, we send out samples each month of 3 different whiskeys that are generally not normally available that you can get to try and sample.
Oh, see, now you're starting a debate with us, whether Jack Daniels is bourbon or not. The regular Jack Daniels is, technically Tennessee whiskey, but it meets all the qualifications to be a bourbon. But this is a rye, so this is a single barrel rye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
thank
welcome.
you guys for stopping by. I don't remember what we were talking about.
Oh, this guy wants to come on the show. He wants to cut work.
I think he's currently working, so I don't.
Hey, well, if you wanna try some of the other Jack Daniel's products,
go try this one inside. Come out. Oh, you did buy it?
You did?
Oh, what'd you think of it? Oh, we're gonna get him talking.
We're gonna get him on the show.
Yeah,
gonna get him on the show.
So start by telling us what's your name?
Ryan.
Ryan?
Yes.
Hi, Ryan.
Okay, hi Ryan. Thank you. So, have you bought? Like, are you a big whiskey fan, or is this like
whiskey bourbon? Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
and have you
there you
bought
go.
some of Jigz picks before, or no?
No, it's actually the first one. I actually in there. I work with him over at Publix here, and I was asking him what it was about today, and he told me, and I was like, oh, that sounds good.
Oh, nice.
I haven't had the chance to actually come and get any of the select picks or anything that's been showing up at the store here.
Are you more of a bourbon fan or rye fan, or
Probably rye guy.
probably rye? Okay.
I'm the rye guy.
Ah, nice. So this was right up your alley then for this one. So tell us what you thought of the Jigz pick?
So the way it rolled across my tongue was very fiery, really quick. I wasn't expecting it, and then how it rolled across my top palate from the back up. That really caught me by surprise. I had a little, I had to take a second, a little cough to myself, but fantastic flavor. I wasn't expecting it, and it was it was stronger than what I was expecting for sure, but it was good rolling across the palate.
So let's get Ryan a couple samples here if he wants them.
Yeah, do you want to try?
Ryan, if I can ask you to scoot a little bit closer to the mic.
Never done a podcast before, so.
Oh, no, welcome.
So would you like to try, have you tried the base JD products?
Oh, yeah.
So like the JD Rye, the regular JD Rye?
Not the regular JD Rye. I usually just get the.
All right, well, we'll start you with this because I'm curious to see what you think of it compared to the
I'm
JD.
usually more of a Crown guy, like if I'm not going to lie, so that's why.
Now, now, have you had the Crown Royal Rye? Their rye whiskey.
Oh,
It won whiskey of the world, best whiskey in the world.
Did it?
In like 2012 or
yeah,
something.
it's total bullshit. But yeah,
Yeah.
It won best whiskey.
Ooh,
like-
so that seemed to strike a chord with you. You didn't like that one.
It was so annoying. I mean, that was when I lost faith in Jim Murray's whiskey.
Yeah.
It's actually
Whiskey awards.
not bad. It's mild, a little bit on the tongue there, not too much on the top palate, but.
But pretty good for like a $24 bottle, right?
Oh, for 20, that's 24. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And that
24 bucks.
definitely does not, that has less of that punch that you were
Oh
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Like
I
this-
didn't feel the
just
kick
kind of
back like a dragon.
Yeah, it goes
Right.
right down.
Yeah.
It goes right down.
Easy.
Yeah. So the way we were kind of talking about this is we kind of felt like the standard rye was kind of like this base, and then if you took like the Jigz pick that you tried inside,
Yeah.
it kind of adds on this citrusy and all this complexity to it. That
Take that on top of that.
yeah.
Well, yeah, this is, so I'm going to give you some special stuff here in a second. but
Ah.
we'll
Oh,
let
boy.
Paul keep talking about the rye, but I'm setting you up with some stuff here.
You know, we kind of felt like it just added a lot of complexity and a lot of mouthfeel. The way you described it, is,
Yeah.
you could definitely feel it in your mouth a little bit more, even though the proof isn't that much higher.
Right.
Just clearly better barrels, more active barrels, and whatnot.
Okay. So what do we got here? Oh my
So,
God! I'm lining
James
them
is
up.
just
Yeah,
lining
lining
up
them
the
up.
shots here.
Gosh, guys, I gotta drive home still.
I only got one person over here, so I'm making up for lost time.
Oh,
So
yeah, got you.
you have, this is the JD Tenure. So that's the first, what, was it like in 100 years? I think it was the first age-stated Jack Daniels in,
Oh, that's
in
super
about
smooth.
100 years. And then the other one I gave
Wow.
you is the Jack Daniels Heritage Barrel. So, and that is it's a pretty rare release. I think it's about $130 retail, something like
Oh
that.
wow. Okay. A little bit out of my price range. I almost made it out of there 50. I bought, like, when they were ringing it up, they accidentally missed the barcode. I was like, wow, $50 for this JD and a thing of Hendrix, and she was like, wait a minute, I should have kept my mouth shut. I almost
Yeah.
made it out.
Yeah, you could have snuck out of that. Now,
Almost.
Hendrix, I appreciate your taste in gin because
It's the only gin I drink.
there you go. Because here's the thing. Now, the gin I really want to try is aviation gin because Ryan Reynolds.
You're just
okay.
obsessed with Ryan Reynolds. That's the only
everyone
reason
is
you wanna
obsessed
try
with
it.
Ryan
That's hard to
Reynolds.
say. Everybody loves the guy.
Yeah,
It's like,
he's like the funniest guy ever.
Don't you get annoyed with his shtick though? Like I think he plays the same character in every damn
it's
movie.
kind of smiley,
Yeah.
silly, goofy guy.
It's that like really intelligent, kind of sarcastic humor that's just it's the same character.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter what movie. It's the same character. He's Deadpool in
That's
every
what's so great about
single
it.
Snarky. He's always
movie.
a snarky, sort of sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
I like the guy, but I mean, at some point or another, the shtick.
But
just
here's the
gets a
thing:
little
nobody
heavy.
else does comedy the way he does comedy, and so it's very refreshing.
Well, he's the only. He's like the only guy that's actually got the role. Like he's the one. He's cornholed into it, or like it's his.
Maybe we should contact Ryan Reynolds and get him on the podcast.
Dude, that would be amazing. I would.
Paul would lose his mind.
So here's the thing:
It would be
I-
such a bromance
okay.
if we got him on here.
I've often argued that.
That last one is that last one's incredibly smooth.
yeah.
What was
Yeah.
that? Which one was
you
that?
Gave me,
That
one
was the
second.
Heritage Barrel.
Yeah.
And that is 100 proof, so that's a little bit hotter.
Oh wow, really? That's 100 proof and it goes down like that? I barely even felt it like across anything.
That's what high end will get you.
James is just over here pouring Heritage Edition
Yeah.
for Ryan. I'm over here, his best bud. Never gotten to try it.
Oh
You don't get anything.
What? Oh my goodness.
You've
Well,
tried it
what are you,
before.
what are you sipping on over here? What are you-
So these are these
Oh, so it is
three.
those.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But all I'm saying about Ryan Reynolds is like
Oh, no.
I have maintained that I would not fangirl over like any celebrity. But if I met Ryan Reynolds,
You would.
It'd be
I
hard.
probably
It'd
would.
be hard not to.
It'd be hard not. Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
See, I think for me, so my friend Chad used to fly for a private jet company.
And where did he fly? Wyoming or something?
Well,
One of those places
was
that you're
like-
always.
No, this was ExoJet. It was out of here in Florida, and he would take famous people all the time, and he'd write me like, "Dude, I had like Dana White on the plane today."
Oh.
And he doesn't watch MMA, and I wanted to kill him because it would have been really important for me to see Dana White. But one day he sent me a text, and he was like, "Hey, I just had Stevie Nicks on the plane. Do you know her?"
Do you know Stevie Nicks?
And I almost drove to wherever he was at
Slapped
and
him.
just beat the piss out of him. 'Cause I was like, it was Stevie Nicks. Like, you would have had to physically restrain me from hugging Stevie Nicks. At this moment, I would still have a restraining order against me if I was flying Stevie Nicks.
Now, I wouldn't recognize Stevie Nicks, but.
Oh, I would recognize Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I know that,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, if Stevie Nicks was standing in front of us
you-
right now, I'd be like,
A lot of
"Hi,
people.
nice to meet you."
Well, that's a normal thing. Most people don't get it unless you see him on the TV every day.
Right. Yeah,
I
exactly.
would, I would pass out if Stevie Nicks was standing in front of us. So Stevie Nicks is my Ryan Reynolds for you.
Now, Ryan,
Yes.
what T-shirt size are you? And would you like a
Oh.
T-shirt?
I'm
Can we
small,
hook you up?
medium. Yeah, sure.
Small,
Why not? That would be amazing.
I'm gonna go medium because these run a little bit small.
It actually works out perfectly because I think I just got a call from work for some reason.
Oh, so you have to go back in. Well, we
maybe
made
better.
you happy before you go
Yeah,
back
the
to work,
night's
so that's
definitely
good.
better now. Got the engine firing now. Oh boy.
Yeah, thank you for coming by. We appreciate it.
No, thank you guys. It was
And thank
fantastic.
you for buying one of the bottles.
It's fantastic. I love it. I'm gonna be going home and maybe even.
Let's check if one of these.
I was wondering if it would be good for like fashions because my friends love making good old fashioned. So.
Oh, it should be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good enough that you don't really have to,
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't have to go that route. but-
me, I'm on the ice. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
This is a small Paul, so I don't know if we have any mediums left.
So where
Hold,
you guys
hold a
stream,
small
like,
up to you and see what you think.
Where you guys like stream? Do you stream on like Apple?
Yeah, so we're on Apple Podcast, Spotify. Yeah, I think the small will work.
Yeah, that'll work. I wear a medium,
We're
so
out of the mediums, so
just don't wash it, ever.
Don't watch it.
it shouldn't
Never-
shrink.
never wash it.
It shouldn't shrink.
They
It's got
shrink,
pu-
they shrink a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't dry it.
Alright.
Take it easy.
Guys.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
of
you
course.
coming on.
Appreciate you coming on.
Have a good one.
Oh, we got one person on.
We kind of forced him.
Yeah, and I forced a lot of
That's
really
okay.
expensive bourbon down his throat, but somebody had to try it. Hey, do you want to? You should try these now. You tried the Tenure. We tried that on the show, so I'm going to get you the Heritage Barrel.
Yes, I did try I have tried the Tenure, but I don't think I've tried the Heritage Barrel before.
So the Heritage.
Hi.
Hey, you
Are
want to
you-
come on? Oh,
Oh,
nice. Hey, we got a
sweet.
second
Hey,
person.
we got a
I
second
appreciate
guest.
it. Grab some headphones, set up, and we'll get you some word stuff here.
Sweet. Sounds good. Yeah, I saw y'all had some cool things. So.
So I'm going to start with the regular single barrel because I want to get your opinion on the difference between the Jigz pick and the
Okay.
standard single barrel.
Cool.
And that should just flip down.
Oh, like
yep,
that.
yep.
There we go. Thank you. So this is the regular single barrel?
That's the
Yeah.
regular single barrel.
And if you'll introduce yourself.
Yes, of course. I'm Patrick Fitzgerald.
Hey, Patrick Fitzgerald. I'm
Yeah.
Paul. This is James. He's
Thank you
bald.
for coming on, Patrick.
Awesome.
I'm not today because I'm wearing a hat. But
Oh.
yeah.
But I'm letting Patrick know because of the
thanks.
hat. He can't
Thanks.
tell.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
It's a strong introduction. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a
So-
shark doctor.
I was. Now I don't know.
Well, I
guess
mean,
I'm-
do you lose your doctorate in sharks just because you stopped working with sharks?
It's actually pretty cool. I'm a
I
tooth
think-
doctor, so there you go.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, I think the people who considered me a shark doctor would probably no longer do that, but
Ah.
you know, technically, yeah. So, Patrick, what did you think of the Jigz release?
Oh, it was a good time. But the taste, it was smooth. I mean, I'm typically not a rye guy, and Jigz just did it again, man. Every single
good.
time he changes my opinion on things. So
Well,
Now, this guy helped pick the barrel. So he's one of the
Yeah,
people
I'll
you
take-
have to thank for
I'll
it.
take all credit for it. Jonathan Richardson, who's listening, was just argued with me the whole time. It was all me. It wasn't Jonathan at all. Jonathan, I love you. It was definitely you too. But that's what we were shooting for. We were, and JD Ryan I think in general is pretty friendly for new rye people. So I'm glad to hear that because we wanted something that we thought bourbon drinkers would appreciate. Do you normally just drink bourbon?
yeah, I'm typically like more bourbon style. I'm like more so regular larceny is like smooth for me. Or
Oh
maybe
man, so
Tenure-
you're even on the
Tenure.
weeded end. So you're
Yeah,
on the
I'm
smoother
stronger
end of
on
the bourbons.
Yeah,
So did you get a chance to try the Old Elk weeded that we
I
got?
did. That was awesome.
Yeah,
So
I figured that would
enjoyed
be right up your alley. So what
my
do you think
palate.
about the standard single barrel?
Standard single barrel. Let me do one more.
And keep in mind, we didn't bring enough Glencairns for him to taste out of a nice
Yeah,
glass.
he's
so
trying out of
using
a
the little
nice plastic thimble.
Oh yeah, so I'm getting a good flavor there. For me, I drink like the regular JD rye. That's what it was, right? Getting just a little bit more of a burn on the back end of it. Not too hot though, but it definitely wasn't as smooth as the Jigz pick for sure.
I don't think it's as sweet, and I think that's what people are
Yep.
picking up is like a little more harsh, right?
Yeah, because like we said, it's a little bit more on the oaky, maybe like cinnamon dry side, and the Jigz pick has a little more of that fruit, citrus, and sweetness to it.
Yeah.
And so it pops a little bit more, and I think it's just a little more appealing.
And go back and smell it now. You got the Glencairn. Smell the standard, and tell me that doesn't smell more mapley. Like it's much more maple forward than
Well,
the Jigz pick.
I did just pour out the standard. I mixed it with the regular
Oh well, good job.
Jack Daniels.
Well, luckily we have some
so
more,
that I
feel
could
free.
try this heritage barrel.
All right. Yeah, and I'm gonna hook you up with some good stuff here.
Okay, cool.
So-
And I was definitely feeling the smoky there too on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's definitely a little smokier.
So have you ever tried any of the higher end JD stuff?
Not yet.
Okay, so I'm going to start you off with the Tenure, which was released. Was it last year? I think.
Yep.
Was it 2021? And we were talking earlier. I think it's the first age stated Jack Daniels for like 100 years, and I think it's amazing. I really really like it. I'm already going to buy it you. And then
Awesome.
and then I'll pour you the Heritage Barrel, which is their special yearly release after that.
Cool. Thanks.
So let's start you off with the Tenure. Are you a fan of regular Jack Daniels?
I am.
Tennessee
that
whiskey?
was kind of like my break into UF and everything.
All
else.
right.
Me and my brothers, we actually had a whole collection of handles of Jack Daniels. Like the typical like college kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Show. I swear we had like 20 or 30 bottles, and then I made the mistake of going in when I started grad school with my roommate, and I said, "Oh, like let's just split a bottle, and when it runs out, no big deal." Little did I know he would finish every night with 2 shots, and I would only do it on the weekends. I feel like I was only drinking like a fifth of that
Hey,
bottle
yep.
every time, but we racked up some bottles.
I had a friend who I think they just tore off the labels and it was essentially their wallpaper. Oh man, it's getting loud around here now.
Oh, you know the Nissan Rogue bumping.
If I'm gonna bump, it's gonna be at a Nissan Rogue. There's no question.
Oh man, yeah. I think it's funny that I feel like it's a rite of passage. Every kid gets to college. They're like 19, 20,
And drink
and they're like,
crap.
it's awesome that I can get alcohol now. So I'm just gonna post the trophies. That's my only decoration because I can't afford decorations.
booze.
But
Booze
I'm
labels.
spending my money on liquor, so I'm just gonna put empty glass bottles all over my apartment.
I wonder how many people have been like, it would that cabinet would look really nice just covered in JD bottles.
Yeah.
But it's better than the plastic crap that you can buy. So at least you're buying glass bottles
That's
rather
true.
than
That's true.
plastic.
It was the old Jack Daniel bottle design too, so we had that going for us.
Oh,
before
the
they made it all
classic one.
rectangle, like
Yeah.
more rounded corners.
Yeah.
Safer that way.
So what do you think of that Tenure?
Tenure is actually really good. Not like a harsh bite or anything there. It's
No.
real smooth. I definitely get more smoky, more oaky with it.
Yep.
I wouldn't say like any citrus or anything like that, like
No.
we had before with the Jigz pick.
I always get green banana on that one, like banana peels or like not ripe banana, which is my if I'm gonna drink something that tastes like banana, I prefer that rather than like the overripe, overly sweet banana notes you get in some stuff. And I've heard those are different esters that sort of create green banana versus like brown overripe banana.
I would imagine.
Yeah,
I
and
like your
this is better.
banana range for bourbon and whiskey.
I know.
That's pretty
I have
impressive.
I have a very distinct banana range. I just took notes on a bunch, and this was from J. Henry, which we tried last time, and there were ones that I specifically wrote down green banana, and ones that I specifically wrote down yellow banana. So I'm very dialed into my banana notes, kind of like Paul would probably be for coconut.
Yeah, well, to me, my coconut notes are all just it's terrible.
It's horrible. Yeah.
That's my tasting notes for coconut, basically.
I think getting back to the Tenure, I think that was a really nice bottle. I was really happy I bought that. It's It's everything that Jack Daniels is, but much better.
Yeah, I'm drinking it more, and I'm getting like a nice little tingle like down like on the aftertaste too. And it's not harsh though; it's not hot, which is pretty cool to have with JD.
Yep.
Straight. So.
Well, that was kind of what I was impressed with the rye in general. Like even the standard rye to me had significantly less of that harshness than the regular Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey. And just in general, I think their rye range is just superior to their standard Tennessee whiskey range. Now, that doesn't include the Tenure and this Heritage barrel. Because those are both, this Heritage barrel's awesome.
Guess where I got that Heritage barrel, Paul? What state did I get it in?
It's either Ohio or Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's a 50-50.
It's a 50-50.
So which one are you going with?
I'm going with Ohio.
No, it was Wisconsin. Man, you suck. It was 50-50.
If you haven't listened to our show before, those are the only two places James ever
That's
goes
the only place I visit.
on his vacation time.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because there's nothing up there. It's just like,
Oh,
isn't it
man.
literally just like
You are
desolate like cornfields and
You are
flat?
insulting.
Packers.
You're insulting corn cake and
No.
my cousin Jake right now.
Okay,
Or no,
corn cake
my
and
cousin
Jake.
Andy. Jake is in
Oh.
Arizona. Sorry.
Right, James doesn't even know which of his cousins.
I don't know
lives
where
up there.
anybody's at. No. But yeah, I got every year I go back to Wisconsin. There's a liquor store that has a Heritage barrel every single year, and so every year I've gone back, I bought a Heritage barrel.
That's
I paid
incredible.
$129 for it. I never see it anywhere else. It never shows up down here, so I always find a way to mule one back,
It's incredible.
along with a tremendous amount of beer because like Wisconsinites drink beer all day.
You know, I'd be interested to travel with you, James, because every time you talk about coming back from Wisconsin or Ohio, you add on to the list of things that you're bringing back with you, whether it's wine, whiskey, beer. Like you're like, oh, every time I go, I bring back a bottle of this. At this point, there's like 30 things on that list.
It's gotten kind of obscene. Yeah, it's gotten bad. Well, we were just talking to people in line who just took a trip to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they said there was roughly 400 bottles in the back of their van when they were driving back from Kentucky. It was a group of them. I think there was like 6 or 7 of them. But still, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I came back from Scotland, same thing, Taiwan, but more so Scotland. I specifically packed, for Scotland, I packed my suitcases like halfway full.
Oh, I imagine you going to Scotland is
Yeah.
like crazy.
And between me and my dad, we had bottles in our suitcases. We had bottles in my wife's suitcase, my mom's suitcase, my brother's suitcase. Because there's a limit to how many you can fit in one suitcase
Yeah, you
before
can
they
only
start
bring 5
clanking.
liters back per person.
Yes, per person though.
That's the
So,
key.
That's the key.
You got to go with multiple people.
So you go with your whole family. My niece, she's a kid. She brought back like 5 bottles, 5 liters.
How old is she? Like 8? And she's
No,
like,
she's like 4.
oh my God.
That's awesome.
In her I imagine this in like her Frozen luggage.
Yep,
Like,
yep.
Or like Little Mermaid
Elsa,
luggage.
yeah.
Dora the Explorer gone wild.
Oh yeah. Dora the Explorer would be appropriate.
There you go.
But really, what saved us was that I ran out of money to buy more whiskey while I was over there. But by the time you buy like 3 or 4 bottles, you've spent the equivalent of, most of any remaining money you had after lodging and plane tickets. So
But have you ever taken an empty suitcase that you knew would be dedicated to just bringing back booze?
With bubble wrap.
Yes,
that would be smart, but I have not.
I did that. When I went to Kentucky, that's what I did. I brought an extra suitcase. That was my carry-on
Yeah.
that had nothing in it besides bubble wrap. And I brought that back with me.
Yeah. Smart man.
You just don't check it both ways. You gotta work the game here. It's your carry-on the way there because you don't really need anything else,
Then you check it on the way back.
and then you check it on the way back. Yeah, and I filled that sucker. I brought back. This was back in the day where you could get Willet, and it was like $10 per year was like the gauge for Willet. So I brought back 3 13-year Willets for $130 a pop.
You tried to sell me one
Yeah, and you
because you didn't
refused.
like it.
No, I did. I loved it. It was one of my favorites, but I had 3, and so I was trying to spread the
Oh.
love a little bit.
Oh,
And Paul was like, "Yeah, you might spend $130."
I was poor then.
Right, whatever.
Philanthropist over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, philanthropist.
Now you wish you had it.
Now I do wish I had it. Yeah.
Because it would be worth a lot more than $130.
Yeah.
I drank
And those
through
were
those
really
suckers.
delicious bottles. Those were really
And you
delicious.
can't get Have you ever had a Willet Rye or a
No.
Willet Bourbon?
Yes.
I have not.
Oh.
My father-in-law in Jacksonville, who's like the connoisseur that got me into all this, he just picked up his first bottle. So hopefully, looking forward to cracking that open
Oh.
with him over Easter. So
Yeah.
that'll be good.
That was back, all the Willet Bourbon was MGP. So you're drinking 13-year-old MGP at cast strength for $130.
Yep.
Now that's like 5-year MGP, right? Everything's gone up exponentially. So what do you think of the Heritage Barrel there?
So I was itching to talk about it because on the nose I was getting like super sweet, almost like candy corn.
Yeah.
And I took a
Very
sip
sweet.
of this probably 2 minutes ago, and my lips and tongue are still tingling.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
I like
dude,
people to go numb when they try my whiskey.
is
The Heritage
awesome.
Barrel is legit.
It's legit.
I've been savoring. I poured myself like a tenth of a glass, and I've been savoring it.
Whatever you think of Jack Daniels, erase it from your mind
like
when
what?
you drink this. It's an entirely different beast.
Dude, this is so. I mean, to me, like what I get on this is like blackberries and blueberries, like dark skin fruit. I get.
And black pepper.
Oh yeah, there's peppery notes. There's barrel notes. There's hints of spice. This is just
It's much spicier than what you would think of for a bourbon. And that's what I think gets me on the
Tennessee
nose.
whiskey.
Yeah, sorry, Tennessee whiskey. On the nose, it doesn't have that mapley, like syrupy sweetness. It's aggressive. Like it's an aggressive whiskey. And you're talking 100 proof. And I think this would satisfy most people that are used to drinking 120 proof, just because it's heavy on your palate.
Now the problem with this, James, is I'm starting to feel the tingle in my knees, and I gotta drive home after this.
The tingle in your knees.
Tingle in my knees. That's where I start to feel.
Is
it.
that what you would get with Ryan Reynolds around? Would you get some tingle?
Probably.
In your Would you
Tingle
get some
elsewhere.
tingling in your
Probably.
knee? Just a whole body tingle.
Now, actually, so we should. Speaking of whole body tingles,
God.
corn cake. In the
corn cake.
comments.
What'd he say?
First of all, he said he did confirm everything in Ohio is just corn. It's just
It's just
fields of corn.
That's
But-
that's
Guys out
actually
there that
true.
would
I
argue.
remember that. Yeah.
But he also asked how our workout went a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I almost
And-
killed you.
Yeah, James almost killed me, and I have only recovered because I've been so slammed with work. I haven't been able to go back to the gym with James, but I have actually been doing the regimen he gave me pretty much every day at home, as close as I can with dumbbells and the super janky equipment at the gym at my neighborhood. Now,
That's the one thing I was going to bring up is that Paul went with me once. And then since then, there's always been an excuse. He's busy. Somebody's in town.
well, not to be fair. Did you
Blah,
did you watch the
blah.
Oscars?
Oh, with the Will Smith slap?
Yeah. See, we went to the gym the day after the infamous slap.
The WSS.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. I like that.
and James was feeling inspired, and so I'm there on my last rep on bench, and I can't do it. My muscles are failing, and James is just like, "Don't be a little bitch," and he slaps me in the face. He just slaps me in the face, and I'm like, "Wow, I don't think I've been slapped in the face since I was like 8 years old. Like it's been like 20 years since another human being has slapped me in the face, and here it happens."
You
While I'm
embellished.
holding an incredibly heavy weight above my,
Okay,
I'm
you
on
embellished
the
twice
brink
now.
of death.
One, it was not an incredibly heavy weight. So let's not embellish that. And two, I did not
I was
say,
benching like 200 pounds day one. Haven't worked out in years.
Oh, please. Please. And I did not say bitch. I said stop whining, and I slapped you.
Oh,
But I did slap you,
yeah,
legitimately.
he did.
Well, because he got to like rep 8, right? He was shooting for 10. He got to rep 8, and he was like, "Oh, it's too heavy."
That is
And-
not how I
you
said
always
that.
go for 10.
That is
You
not
did.
how
And
I
I
said
was
that
like-
at all.
And I was like, "I got you, Paul." And he was like, "No, I have to quit." And I was like, "Paul, that's why you have a spotter." And then I made you do the last one, and then I slapped the shit out of you.
So it was racked when he got slapped.
Yeah, it was racked.
I
It
don't
was-
think so.
No, shut up.
No,
It was
I-
on the rack. I
No,
can't
there's
because
no way.
I had to lift it for you. I can't lift it for you and slap you
You got two
simultaneously.
hands. You were doing. That's definitely how it happened.
I'm that strong. I can just pick up all your weight with one hand and slap you with the
Oh,
other.
man.
It was good though. You felt and then you wrote me. You got home and you wrote me that you tried to get off the couch, and your arms collapsed.
Yeah,
So
it's accurate.
I was proud of that. That was a good day then.
That's worse after like leg day, you know, when you try to go to like sit down on the toilet and you just like fall after 45 degrees.
Yeah, you're done. Avoid steps after leg day.
Now-
I learned that the hard way.
Now I'm hoping. Where did all our little toppers go?
They're
Oh,
out in
whiskey.
front of the box. I
Oh,
hid
okay.
them.
So if you ever do tastings at home, do you have any Glencairns, by the way?
I have one. Yes,
Okay.
I actually do.
So
That's all you need.
get a second one.
Get a second.
That's what I'm gonna say. Get a
Oh,
second one.
well, never mind.
I should
I
have
was wrong.
brought.
You need
I should
two.
have brought a spare, but get a second one, and I'm gonna give you a couple toppers here to go with them. So if you're doing side by sides, you're tasting side by sides, especially when you start drinking the superior spirits, single malt Scotch whiskey, and you're drinking smoky ones, so they're not. You're not getting cross aromas out of the glass. The whiskey toppers are very helpful.
So what you're saying
And-
is so that the smoky one doesn't ruin the other one
Yeah,
with,
exactly.
with its disgusting aroma.
But what's really helpful about those is actually I find is I pour myself a glass and then I kind of start doing something else, and you set it on there and your whiskey stays good in the glass for longer.
Oh, do you guys want to talk? They
Nope.
came up and they left.
They ran away.
Yeah.
Do we have any of the flyers? Do you want a flyer?
I
Nope,
don't think they
they're
want a
gone.
flyer. By the way, have you listened to our podcast before?
This is the first time, and you guys gave me the flyer today, so I'm looking forward to
Ah,
it.
Oh,
nice.
sweet.
We got somebody new. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely. No,
Thank you.
that's
Thank you
awesome.
for joining us. So what was your favorite? Did you prefer the Heritage Barrel over the Tenure?
So, when I'm comparing the two, I feel like sipping for a little bit the Tenure, but if I'm just trying to enjoy like one glass with my buddies and just trying to show them something new, absolutely the Heritage Barrel.
And that's a good point. I think they're very different. Getting back to what you said earlier, I could pour you a Tenure and a Heritage Barrel, and you would not know they were from the same distillery.
Oh yeah, I mean
They're entirely different.
Yeah, all these products, and I think this showcases what you were talking about earlier of kind of my naivety when I was early on in my whiskey journey of trying one product from a distillery. If I didn't like it, I kind of wrote off the distillery because, again, budgetary, limited budget. And so just move on to the next one and find something I do like and then explore a range that I do like. I think the Jack Daniel's range is extremely diverse in terms of everything from their Tennessee whiskey through their rye range. I think there's a huge variety of flavors available. And so I think this really showcases, like, never write off a distillery. Just because you try one bottle and you don't like it, don't entirely write it off. Now,
And especially their base product. That's like going to a brewery and trying their light beer
Yeah.
and deciding that you don't like their specialty stuff.
right. But I will say I think most distilleries don't have, or not all distilleries have both rye and bourbon releases. Now it's becoming more popular, specifically with craft distilleries. They pretty much all do a rye and a bourbon, or they start with a bourbon and then come out with a rye. But even just between the single barrels, like we talked about earlier, there's a huge disparity of flavor. And so, as much as you kind of teased Andrew Sims when he was on the show in episode 2 of this season, talking about how he thought Eagle Rare was the perfect whiskey, you kind of teased him like his entire collection is Eagle Rare and
Just
and
shelves
Stag
of
Jr.
Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare and Stag Jr.
That's all he has.
But both of those are single barrel whiskeys.
You go over to
And-
Andrew's house and he's like, "Hey, do you want some Eagle Rare or do you want some Stag Jr.?" That's it. That's it. Those are your two choices. Which one do you want?
But as we've seen here, there can be quite a diversity there, and so it's something where I've been asked like how you build a whiskey collection or how you kind of start building a tasting of whiskey, and I think it's totally legitimate to have just find the one whiskey you like and buy all single barrels of that whiskey.
God, we have vastly different
A
opinions.
lot of
on this.
diversity over here.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like
Do you only go to Chipotle? Is that it? Like, do you guys only eat at Chipotle, but you mix it up by having steak or chicken? Like, is that your big diversity in dinner?
No, but
Then don't do
But-
the same
no,
thing
no,
with
no.
whiskey.
no, but I'm saying you can have a successful tasting of 5 different single barrels of a product and
Oh,
have
yeah,
that
yeah.
just be a tasting, or have a collection that's just a couple different focused on a couple different single barrels. I'm not saying it's going to be the most complete collection in the world.
No, it's gonna be boring, but you can do it.
But I'm saying
Yeah.
it's going to be more interesting than many people would assume.
I think it's fun for tastings because you can line them up, you can try each individual barrel, and you can really tell the differences. I just tried 4 barrels from Koval, and they all were distinctly Koval. There's no question, but they were all just slightly different, and it never ceases to amaze me how much difference you can get just between just little tiny nuances in barrels that affect whether or not you like them. Honestly, like. Just there could be something just a little bit on the back end that's a little bit different that throws you off. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I would not have a collection of just single barrels of JD, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So, are you more of a buy it and drink it, or a buy it and then buy the next one before you finish it to kind of build up your collection?
Yeah, I
kinda?
definitely like to buy the next one before I
Yeah,
totally
there you
finish
go.
it because I want to make sure I enjoy being able to have people over and say, hey man, let's try this out.
Right.
I've got a couple buddies from all over the states. When we get together, it's always a big deal.
There you go. So what are we talking about in terms of? I assume if you're married, your wife's not watching, and so you're safe.
Yeah, she's out with her friends. I told her it was a great idea for her to go out for a drink.
Oh,
together,
There you
so
go, yeah.
It worked out great.
So since we know she's not going to watch this, what are we talking about in terms of bottles of collection
what's-
here?
what's
are
your
we
number?
are we on a reasonable side or?
So I'm pretty embarrassed to say I actually have an entire storage unit that I rent out, and I have bottles
nice.
in there that I'm like, okay, this is gonna be for this, this is gonna be for this, and it's just,
So we're in the hundreds.
yeah, I'm probably definitely triple digits. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing in the sense that we bought
I
this
love it.
really nice restoration hardware cabinet, and she's like, oh, this is going to be our pantry because we don't have any room for food. And I took
"Nope."
over half of that, and we put the word bar on the top, and it's just half of it is just alcohol and liquor, and then I literally have we remodeled our kitchen. And you know how you rip out the old cabinets, and
Yep.
who knows what you do with them, right? You sell them, you try to give them away.
You
Put
just-
them in a
you just-
storage
you
unit.
just
Put them in a
full-
storage
yeah,
unit and turn them
yeah.
into a liquor cabinet.
Nice, nice.
So I have all the cabinets that used to be in our kitchen are now stocked with.
And I like that they're double stored.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
inside of a storage unit, inside of a
the
storage
kitchen,
unit.
Yeah.
Now, are we talking about? So you've admitted to the storage unit.
Yeah.
Does the wife know about the storage
Did you
unit?
just out yourself with
Yeah.
the storage unit?
No.
Okay, that's good.
She is aware. She is aware, but it's pretty funny that when we have people over, it's okay, let's have a party. What do we want to make? Orange crushes, margaritas, or or are we doing just the straight bourbon bar? 'Cause
Then you got to go
that's
to the
thing.
storage
Yeah,
unit.
then I got to
and
go
pick
to the
out the
storage
bottles
unit and
and
pick
come
it out
back.
because I try to keep the
Yeah.
basic stuff out in the
Yeah.
in the living room bar. But
Oh
So
man.
do you have a lot of really high end stuff, or is it just stuff that you like?
So I'm actually lucked out because my father-in-law, he just recently retired, and he is probably one of the biggest people person ever. He loves to chat and can talk your ear off. So he goes around to all the liquor stores in Jacksonville, and he knows all the managers by first name. He makes them cookies, and he's a big cooker and baker. So
Oh,
whenever
dang,
he
that-
does a huge meal, a big roast,
I never thought of that
he will
angle.
bring the leftovers over and just be here, enjoy
Oh,
this
that's
pound
smart.
of pork that's
That's
been
smart.
roasted all for 8 hours. So he gets good stuff, and that always helps me. When I missed out on the midwinters jam here, he was like, "Oh yeah, I got you a bottle. Here you go.
Oh,
Merry
we need
Christmas
to do that, Paul.
and happy birthday." So
I'm not that dedicated.
If I just bring people hamburgers, will they
Yeah, I am
will they give
not
me extra bottles?
remotely dedicated enough to bake cookies or
I'm not
make
either.
barbecue but I respect the hustle.
I respect that effort.
That
Yeah.
see, that's a new one. I know a lot of guys that they just spend a lot with the store,
Or they bring samples, into
right?
the
Or they
store,
just show
different
up
stuff.
all the time and loiter until the guy gets annoyed enough to give
They
him a
give 'em a
bottle.
bottle.
he
so you
does
go
do
home.
that too. That's a technique.
But
It is. It's legit.
Just talk.
But I think significant if you are, because you said he's retired, right? That frees up a lot of time. So, pro tip for you whiskey hunters out there:
Take me.
retire and learn to bake cookies,
What's
and you'll get
and-
access to those bottles.
And take a pork shoulder or two.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would give you a bottle for
Now-
a nice roast.
The only person that I know prior to this who had the same angle was my grandmother.
Mm.
Your grandmother was a baller.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Except the person that she would bake for was the fire department, so that if she ever had an emergency, they would come to
They
her
would-
house first.
They would like prioritize.
And I'm
it.
not even kidding. Like, she took
Wow.
them brownies all the time. She'd
Or did
make
she
them
just like go
cookies.
in to see the firemen?
Wow.
That's
Oh,
probably
that's
that's
your
probably more likely.
Grandma knows that.
She told you that it was protecting her future, but it was
Yeah.
really just about going seeing firemen.
Oh man.
Well, his
Oh,
fun-
you have me beat because I have.
Yeah, I'm tapped out at like 120, 130 bottles.
I think I probably had that. This is.
But they're all
rare.
in my one room, so it seems excessive, but
This is rare that I'm at a table where I have the least bottles out of anybody.
yeah, I know. See,
How
that,
did
you,
this
it's 'cause You
happen?
drink them more often than
That's
me. Like, I'm like a
yeah.
weekend.
I feel bad now. I think I probably have 80.
man, James is such a scrub. He needs to level up in the whiskey game. Why do we even have you as a host
I
on this
have
podcast?
no idea.
We need to get.
I have
He
no
needs to be
idea.
our new. You're officially invited to replace James.
I've
You
just
guys
been
are
I've just
funny.
been shamed. Well, last time you tried to replace me with Graham, right?
Yeah. Well, Graham was awesome.
And then you tried to replace me with Andrew.
Yep.
So every time we have somebody
I
on,
mean, it's open
you just try
season.
to replace me.
Open season.
Sad. I'm
So-
about to have a tremendous amount though, so the numbers are going to go up very drastically. So let's touch base after a year from now, and I'll tell you how many I have.
Hey, I'm thankful for him though. He got me my first Coy Hill too, but he's gonna be so jealous that I got to try this heritage release.
You have a
man.
Coy
It's-
Hill?
He found me a Coy Hill.
Who found
literally,
you Coy Hill?
After he found his first two, he got me one.
Who?
My father-in-law.
Oh my God!
You need to get him on here.
Have your call your father-in-law right now and tell him that we need a Coy. Can we? Okay, this is a. Do you have one open?
I was gonna crack it open here when my buddies and I met up again.
I'll trade you a sample
Okay.
because I really want to try a Coy Hill on the podcast.
Okay.
Do you have one that was one of the hazmat proofs?
I would have to take a look.
I think they're almost all. Like
If you want to
upper
come
130.
back on the podcast to bring the
There
sample,
we go.
You
you're
were
invited
you were
also.
invited.
but
Because
we'll also trade you a sample of something.
Okay.
I've
And by
tried,
we, I mean James.
exactly. I've tried to get a Coy Hill, and I guess I didn't take people cookies because that's apparently what it needs to happen, and I never got one.
He was on it.
And I tried. Those are going for like $500-600 on secondary now.
Hey,
If
even
not
the
more.
JD Tenure is. So.
Yeah, it's
I
going
mean,
crazy. So yeah, I'll happily swap you a sample because I really want to try that on the podcast.
Andrew just joined the chat and he said, "I heard y'all are talking smack." He's like, just
about
because
weightlifting and
just
sliding.
because I have over a dozen Stag Juniors open doesn't mean I have a problem.
Just go drink your Eagle Rare, Andrew.
Am I gonna have to come defend my honor again? Yes, Andrew, you probably are.
You probably will.
Now, so I want to pose this question to you just briefly before we wrap up because we're running a little long. We're at an hour 10. We try to keep this show to about an hour, but
We
we're
never
having a
do,
good
though.
time.
We never do though, legitimately.
yeah, it's usually pretty close. So I want to pose to you the quick question, as long as Andrew is not here to defend his honor. What do you consider the perfect bourbon? Now there's two schools of thought that have been brought up previously on the podcast. James,
But we have to. It's not the perfect. It's
a perfect. Yeah, sorry. Correct.
Don't insult Andrew.
A perfect bourbon. James's school of thought is that a perfect bourbon is the best bourbon that you've ever had, which in his opinion is George T. Stagg 2014. Correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've had that bottle, and I agree. That was, besides maybe Michter's 20 or the old Fitzgerald from like the 60s that you let me
Oh,
try,
That's ridiculous.
that Stag is top 3 all of all bourbons I've ever tried.
Yeah.
Now, the second perspective that we've had on the show is that a perfect bourbon is a bourbon that is the quintessential bourbon. It may not be the best bourbon you've ever had, but it showcases and it embodies the spirit and element of what bourbon is. And so Andrew Sims' argument was that Eagle Rare 10 was a perfect bourbon because it kind of has all the elements of what is considered classic bourbon flavor. And I posed that Michter's 10 was a perfect bourbon because again, it encompasses all those classic elements of bourbon. Although both of us said that neither of those is the best bourbon we've ever had. Now James hates this.
Oh gosh.
Because why, James?
Because it's all just circular talking. This is
And
all just
anything-
semantics. It's all crap.
And to him, he's like, so you're telling me that a perfect bourbon is one that I go into a store and I say, hey, I would like something really boring. And
Yeah. I just want bourbon. Like I want something super generic because that's perfect, and that's not me. So yeah, do you have an ideal
And-
out of your 10,000 bottles that you
Oh
have
my
stored
God,
away
okay,
in a
not-
storage
not
thing?
getting that crazy,
Every
but-
time we talk to you, it's going to be more.
Oh my gosh.
So out of your thousands of barrels or bottles, which do you have an idea of what, if you had to name what is a perfect bourbon, what would it be?
So that's the beauty of what we're into, right? Like, you're collecting and you're trying different flavors, different tastes, and everyone has different palates and different preferences. So, like, the true definition of a perfect bourbon is different to everyone, and that's what's really cool about it, is you get to try different things, experience different tastes, flavors. For me, like, my perfect bourbon is something that I can sip on and have, like, a couple glasses and not be totally, burnt out, or my palate's totally scorned from it. Something that's a little bit smoother, not have as much an afterbite, but also have a little bit of a sweeter side. I don't know. I've got a sweet tooth, so that's just me.
Yep.
But something that totally isn't too bitter, doesn't dry me out too much. So that's when I start thinking like, okay, this is something I can sip on, enjoy, but it doesn't totally make me want to jump out of the chair and run around the room.
So do you have an example?
So, like I said before, I am like Larceny is definitely one of my more so favorites, but I've actually was able to do the Jack Daniel's Sinatra.
Oh, we
we just talked
we
about
got
that.
in the comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had
That
several
was-
people mention that before you came on the show
Okay.
as being a really good pour. I have never had it, but
Yeah, so that was actually one of my favorites there. I was down in Orlando, and I was able to do that, and I actually had a bottle. We cracked it open for my graduation from grad school.
Oh,
So
nice.
still have that on the shelf for special occasions and stuff. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna crack open for my firstborn, but we'll
It is
figure that one
really
out.
easy to. It is really easy to drink. So
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
So an easy sipper is kind of like also like one of my definitions of like for me, a perfect bourbon. But I respect everyone's different opinions. On
Well,
it,
you
I
can
guess,
respect
so.
everybody's opinions
But
and
then I can also
still
say screw you. That
and
doesn't work for
yeah,
me.
and still and
Yep.
still understand that Paul is wrong,
hey,
which is key here because Michter's 10 is not anywhere near the
Hey.
perfect bourbon.
not
I like that Andrew. I really like that Andrew chimed in.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, you guys are.
he's like, if
I
we
know
haven't,
you guys are talking about.
he's
me."
like, I can come back if we haven't talked about this in enough excruciating detail. And
I,
also, if I can be accused of anything, is that I love this Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye too much.
Oh yes.
it is a good barrel.
So
Well, thank you, Andrew, for chiming in. We'll
Yeah.
have you back. If you guys want to talk more about the perfect, I
Well,
will not be here.
no,
'cause
but I
I've
do
had
want
my
to
fill of that
try some
conversation.
Stag Junior because
Oh yeah. And actually,
when I tried Stag Junior, it was back when it first came out, and I was not impressed.
and it was a drain pour.
Yeah.
The first like 5
So.
releases were horrible. So yeah, we need to have Andrew on. He can
Yes,
bring
we
us.
are doing a podcast.
Oh
if
yeah.
you would actually, can you hand her
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
an honorary
Absolutely.
member of the podcast?
There you go.
Yeah. So follow us if you want to sit down now. We'll happily give you some pours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to try some whiskey and hang out?
Love to try some whiskey.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
You
Sweet.
guys
Well-
have more fun with this crew.
All right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
thank you. Well, thank you for joining us. It was a awesome time.
Phones on?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you guys have to share a mic though. That's the only thing.
Holly, we have to share
Yeah.
a mic.
The headphones are only relevant for you hearing yourself to know that you're close enough to the mic. So you don't really have to. Have to put them on.
Thank you.
I think we have another chair over there. Oh, they're gonna share a chair.
We're gonna share.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome
So-
having you on.
Yeah. Thank you. So
where
what are-
again did you say that storage unit was located? You said it was on
Yeah, the-
6th.
the exact address.
You need to hit, I think you need to hit yourself.
Thanks, man. Take it easy.
No, you'll sound lovely.
No, it's okay.
All right. So what are your names?
My name's Taylor. Taylor Olsen. This is Polly. Well, no, this is Paola. She's Spanish.
Paula. Okay. Nice. Nice. And are you guys? We caught you while you were going into Jigz. Was there some specific you were going for? Or? Of what?
Aguardiente? Yes, guaro. Do you get it with
Oh. Okay.
sin azúcar? Okay. Yes.
The only
Oh
one.
my gosh, I love that. Can we go get the bottle and do some shots of guaro? Dude,
Have
should,
you never
we
had
should.
Do I need to get a bottle so you can?
Have you ever
Absolutely. No, I
yeah,
have not.
Guardiente is awesome.
No, I
it's
have
like
not tried it.
it's
had it?
it's like licorice.
It's a licorice.
I will get a
like
bottle so we can
like
all
yeah.
have a shot.
Oh, okay. And
Yes.
I will return the favor by giving you lots of bourbon.
Perfect.
Oh
my gosh,
okay.
let's
so
do this.
awesome. I'm excited.
So
So-
this is why she's my best friend.
So-
She knows what she's doing.
Is she
yeah.
Colombian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
English.
Okay.
Clearly by the accent.
I wouldn't have guessed.
No.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So you guys would come here just for that
And ice cream.
and ice cream
Well, I don't think they have ice cream in
No.
at the liquor store.
We
down
went
that way. All right.
down in, yeah,
Well, we're gonna
down the
hook. So
shop.
we're gonna hook you up with some stuff here. So we have. Have you tried much Jack Daniel's stuff?
I am a whiskey person. My drink is an old fashioned, so.
Oh,
nice.
okay, nice.
So let's start with a regular Jack Daniel's single barrel. So I'll pour a little bit of this
Alright.
for both of you.
Okay.
So the
She's
reason
not a whiskey person, but I'll go for it.
she's about to be.
Okay.
So the reason we're doing this is because we picked a barrel of Jack Daniel's single barrel.
And by we, he means him.
me.
I wasn't invited,
No.
as
No,
per usual.
we try to exclude Paul from as much as possible. And
He's
so
not allowed to have fun.
And
No,
what's
no.
what's your name again, by the way?
My name is Taylor.
Taylor.
Taylor,
That's right.
okay.
Yeah.
And so you can see it has the little Jigz plaque on it.
Uh-huh.
So if you like this, you'll definitely like what he has in there. But go ahead and give this a shot. So this
Okay.
is Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye. It is 94 proof. So if you're not used to drinking whiskey, it's going to be a little hot. If you're used to it, it's probably right. It's probably fine.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's nice, right?
Yeah.
Sweet, spicy.
Wow. All the right kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and I think it was $50, right?
Yes,
$49.98?
$50.
So that's pretty solid for $50.
Lovely.
I'm just going to keep pouring you stuff because
Oh, gosh.
you moved through
I'm
that
not- I
quickly.
drove
I'm
it.
impressed.
She's the dedicated driver. If we're doing a shot of Guardiente after this,
Yeah.
we might need to take it
Slow
easy
down,
on the
slow
floor.
down. Take it easy.
A little.
I'll give smaller amounts here. So
smaller amount.
we're gonna go with the Jack Daniel's Tenure.
Okay. This is supposed to be better, right?
This is better. Well,
Eh,
it's
different.
It's bourbon.
So it's
well,
it's more like
sorry, it's Tennessee,
Tennessee
whiskey,
whiskey.
but it's bourbon.
So it's not the rye. So the when it's made from rye, it's a little bit spicier, and this is
Right.
going to be a little bit sweeter and caramely, I
Okay.
would say. And it's a little bit older, so maybe some more of that barrel note. Yes.
She did it. She bought one.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so excited. I haven't had Guardiente
lovely.
in like
That's
a couple
different.
years.
This is way better when it's really cold.
Yes.
Just-
Yeah.
that
Go
looks,
ask him for some ice.
it looks horrible. I'm not gonna.
No,
lie.
it,
That bottle is crap.
No, okay.
Like, that looks horrible.
so I
No. It's wonderful. Do you like licorice? Have you had like licorice sweets or
Oh
anything
yeah,
like
I like
that?
licorice. For
gosh,
sure.
James is just pouring like 8 shots of Jack Daniels over here.
I don't know what any of these
I'm
are.
just giving
No, that's
everybody
lovely.
samples. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
So that-
Wait, so do you guys do this often? Are you
Not
guys
here.
Not here, but just somewhere else at a
Um,
bar, maybe
yeah, you-
more appropriately.
So yeah, usually at my house normally.
it's whiskey.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that you're starting
Yeah.
with the rye. So go ahead and try that.
But every now and then when we do, like when Jigz does barrel pick releases and stuff, we'll do an episode live from there, especially if he helped pick the barrel. Yeah, just because we like to get to meet people and have people on the show
I think
randomly.
that's great.
It's a lot of fun.
That's fantastic.
So what'd you think of the rye? You're not now. She said while you were gone, she said you're not a whiskey person. So I'm curious to see what you thought of it.
It's not bad.
Oh, it's not that
Ooh,
bad.
not bad.
That's
say,
good.
Say it, say it into the mic.
That helped a lot. Thank you. So the next one here, this is the Jack Daniel's Tenure. So I have it on the ground
It's on
here.
the ground. It is.
So this is more rare.
More rare, you heard that?
Yeah, this is special.
Very strong. Yeah.
It's fun. I don't think it's actually. Well, yeah, it is. It's 97 proof, so it's a little bit stronger. Now wait till you try
Just
the
a
last
little.
one.
Just a little.
I don't think you haven't tried the
No,
last
I
one.
haven't.
So the last one is the Heritage Barrel, and that is by far probably the highest end of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it out of my price range?
It's about $130, $150 a bottle.
All right,
Yeah.
so
Better
we'll,
taste
we'll shoot this
fantastic.
one.
Yeah, so
Shoot this
you're
Yeah.
holding like $20 there.
Yeah, yeah, ready? Cheers.
How's that? Oh, we
that
got
was a
some
nice
we got
reaction.
some pleasant looks.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's not that bad.
Are we turning you into whiskey people?
If it's that price, yes.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I've always been one, but yes, I'd be interested to turn you into one.
So
that
do
that
they
does tend to
have-
happen when you start pouring $100 plus bottles. People are
It's
like,
easy.
"Oh
Same
wow,
thing with
whiskey."
wine,
It's
right?
easy to
Yeah.
convert. So do you have good whiskey in England?
And so I've actually been here for years.
You do
I'm
know
like
where
a-
England is, right? It's right next to Scotland. So.
Yeah.
But
Continue.
I've always heard that they don't have very good. Oh, sorry, I should have been more clear. I heard they don't have very good bourbon.
I mean, I think it just depends where you go,
Yeah, yeah.
where you're ordering from. I've been here for years though, but I'm a whiskey wine person. I've been drinking more wine recently. That's why we were heading in here. in the
But you
first
decided to
place.
get this
But we
lovely
decided-
bottle.
But no, she was like, I'm gonna get wine. She was like gravitating towards the liquor store, and I'm like,
I'm like, this looks
get
interesting. Let's go say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as soon as I had whiskey, I was like, yes.
So
Ah.
I
a
fell.
lot better when it's really cold. Then
Yes.
we can take a try.
Yeah,
We can
awesome.
taste it now.
Let's crack this thing. I'm
Oh, we
curious.
should
So
do it.
I
But it's
I
white.
fell in love with the Guardiente at my brother's wedding.
You
My
have to-
brother
Wait,
married.
you have to tell us the story.
Yeah,
Go,
so-
go on.
You said
He-
wedding, and now you have to.
Yeah, so he married a Colombian girl. So he moved to Colombia
A Colombian girl.
right out of college,
All right. Good. Give it
because
to me in that.
he was like, where can I go to learn Spanish? And Colombia is like one of the least
Yeah.
English-speaking countries in South America at the time, and he was like, and Colombian girls are really pretty, so
yeah.
I'm gonna go to Colombia. And now the thing that was funny about this was he went there to be an English teacher.
Okay.
That was the job he got, even though in America he needed girls in high school to do all his English homework for him his entire life because he didn't know how to do. But in Colombia, he was he was a
Carry it over.
professor.
The
Yeah.
bar's pretty low in Colombia. For
Well, yeah, I mean any country, it's
Yeah.
like he was a professor.
Right.
Oh,
right.
wow, impressive.
So anyway, she was the principal of his school,
Okay.
and
She's
you
like,
know,
you need to try aguardiente.
yeah, exactly.
Everybody does aguardiente.
Yes.
It's aguardiente or whiskey, to be honest, but like mostly aguardiente.
But
Yeah.
it's like a family tradition. You're not welcome into the family until you try it.
Give me my
Did you-
shot of.
Did you
Guaro.
call him
It's
one?
Oh, sweet.
It's right
thanks.
there. All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Oh,
do
this
this.
is so fancy for Guaro.
Yeah, that's very fancy.
All right.
All right.
So cheers,
Well,
guys.
cheers.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Salud, actually.
Salud.
but-
Oh, it just goes
I
down
love
so
Guardiente.
easy.
It's so good.
It's like water
It's
right now to
dangerous.
me.
It is really
It's a-
dangerous.
it's
It
a
yeah. It
licorice-
tastes like if
Tell
you
us.
had licorice flavored hint.
Yeah,
That's what it would taste
dude,
like.
it's so good.
Yeah.
So for
I-
his
you-
bachelor party, we just bought a bottle like that, and and they give you a bunch
I
of.
realized he's like, oh, I need to get myself a bottle now.
I'm just
Yeah.
checking that out. It's
Yeah.
it's only it's 60 proof.
Yeah.
So it's
And it's really good
dangerous.
with like a slice of.
Yeah, so what do you do with it? Is
like
it good in cocktails? Do
guava
you drink
or-
it by itself?
No,
or-
it's a
I-
shot drink.
Well, no, I
Really?
recently
Just, like,
discovered.
kill
no,
it.
no.
Just.
Oh, we
pour
got
it-
the expert. We
pour
got
it
the
into
expert over
people's
here.
mouths at the club.
Oh, it's one of
Yeah.
those.
Very
All right.
fun way to do it. But my sister's wedding recently, I have learned that it's very delicious with Sprite and lime.
The Sprite and lime.
Sprite and lime.
You heard it here first.
All right.
Or
Sprite
just
and
pour it into
lime.
people's mouths.
I have
That
I have
too.
never tried it with
That
Sprite and
too.
lime.
I have never poured a
either.
liquor
I
into
talked
anyone's
about-
mouth either.
No. I talked about 2 of those cocktails before I did my maid of honor speech, and let me tell you, it was great.
I bet that was the best maid of honor speech anyone has ever given.
Oh man,
You should drink some of the whiskey first and then give the maid of honor speech. That's
I
even
used to
better.
I used to always keep a bottle of Guaro in my fridge, and I'm sad
I
that
have one currently in
I
my
don't
fridge,
anymore.
but we were just out, and I had to buy one.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
We just need
I
to
appreciate
remind
you
you.
sharing it with us
Yeah.
because I have no idea what the hell this is. So
Well,
it's nice
now
to
we've
try it.
added to your repertoire a little
Well,
bit,
it's
but the whiskey still is very much up there.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
They need to do something with this bottle though because it's
Yeah.
horrible.
Well, I mean,
Agreed.
it's a very functional label.
It's true.
It says
Is it?
exactly what it is. Aguardiente. I mean, I don't know if that's the brand or what, but
It's like shiny.
I think she
Yeah.
say like that because only the people who actually know about
yeah,
it.
exactly. Right.
No,
No one's
what it
buying
is.
Aguardiente by accident.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
I would not walk in and
No
accidentally
one's
buy this
buying
bottle.
and be
no.
like, this is a really
No.
great bottle. Let's get it. No,
Yeah.
you're
No,
buying it
no.
because it's good shit.
So where in Colombia are you from?
Me, Cartagena.
Cartagena.
Yeah.
Ah.
All right. So I haven't been to Cartagena yet. I went to Medellin and
Oh, I wanna
or
go
no,
there.
no. I did go to Cartagena because that's right on the coast.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where we went right after the wedding, and we went snorkeling and everything. It's
Okay, then
beautiful.
yes, you've been
The
to
only
Cartagena.
place I've been that's more humid than Florida
It
is
is.
Cartagena.
South
For some reason, I was
America.
thinking of
It's
Bogota.
like that year round too.
Yeah.
So even though we go in December, you still get
Yeah,
the
it was impressive because I did not know somewhere more humid than Florida existed in the world. But I will say, Medellin, gorgeous all year round weather. Cartagena, the weather's not as nice, but the coast and the water there, everything's beautiful. So
It is.
Yeah, I've never been there. I need to go.
worth
I
going.
just went to Costa Rica, and I really enjoyed Costa Rica.
Where are you guys from?
here,
Florida?
I'm from
Born and
here.
raised
He's-
Florida?
Yes.
I'm from Ohio,
Ooh,
which
those
Paul
are
likes to make
great
fun of me about.
places.
What brought you to Florida then from Ohio?
So I got my PhD at UF, and now I'm a professor at UF.
Oh,
So
A professor of what?
I am a professor of agronomy, which is agricultural sciences,
And sharks.
and sharks. I have a master's in
Oh,
marine biology.
So fun.
Yeah.
So we're third-year veterinary students.
Oh, okay.
I did my undergrad in the agricultural college in UF.
Oh, which program was it?
Animal biology.
Oh, all right. Yeah, yeah. I work a lot with those folks.
We drink a lot of whiskey, I guess, to get through things.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I drank a lot to get through my PhD, so I understand. We had a tradition in our lab where every time somebody published a paper, we had a shot of whiskey together.
It seems like it's a long time in between those shots.
You'd be surprised. There was a lot of them in there.
Okay,
there was
okay.
there was a lot of us in there, so it happened
it's
quite
more
irregularly. But
uncommon in our.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very common in there.
Yeah.
well, yeah. I
They're
mean,
always
the
publishing
worst that's
papers.
going to happen if I take a shot of whiskey is a plant's going to die. You guys deal with animals. So yeah, I don't want you to take a shot of whiskey and then deal with my guinea pigs.
This is
So,
true. This
yeah,
is
that's,
true.
let's not do
True
that.
things. Wait, are we allowed to drink these then?
Yeah, those are yours.
These are
Yeah,
you can
those are
drink.
yours.
poured?
Don't
All
mix
right.
them though. Just drink.
No.
I saw you look at them. Just drink them. We need. Do you guys have? Do we have small shirts for them too?
We do.
Polly, if
I
you're going
think
to
we
talk, you have to talk into the microphone. Come
don't wanna hear
closer.
myself.
She doesn't want to hear herself. I can tell. We'll give you
have a
guys some
lovely
shirts.
As
South
long as
America.
the recording can hear me properly.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's why you need to talk into the microphone. I can hear you, but you can't hear yourself.
I think we have small and extra small.
So here's. Do you guys? What size shirts? We're gonna give you some-
Small, probably.
Small.
Yeah.
Right, there's a small.
There you go, friend.
I think those are both. Well,
The other one- the
of
other
those
small's
got
gone.
given away.
Oh, that's actually.
Look,
great.
isn't it adorable?
Yeah.
Whiskey.
Yeah, you guys got to follow us now because you've
We
officially
will.
sat down with us and tried whiskey.
We have.
Listen, my brother.
If I was a smart man, I would have organized these shirts by size.
Well, we've people have known that they've listened to the podcast enough to know that's not going to be the case.
That's all right. The shirts don't need to
We'll,
matter.
we'll
right,
find you a
right
small. We'll
quite
find
now.
you a small.
We definitely have one.
It's okay. I'll take a.
So, what else do you guys talk about on this podcast?
We've talked about pretty much everything. It starts out about whiskey and
Yeah,
then it
and it
slowly
just turns
derails
into
by the end
Oh,
of it.
derails.
Yeah.
I love that 'cause you're just
That's
drinking
great.
whiskey and just
Yeah.
wherever
We've
the
talked about
conversation
how
takes you.
Paul hates the Olympics. We've talked about my guinea pigs a lot. We've talked about a variety of things.
Yeah, guinea pigs are a really tough pet to have.
I have 3.
Oh boy.
They're 3 brothers.
Voluntarily, you have them?
I did. So I adopt animals that nobody wants. It's sort of my
that's
thing.
That's adorable,
So
though.
I adopted a rabbit, and she was a dick.
We have another
And
extra
we
small.
had her, like, she was seriously an asshole. And we had her for like
It works.
7 years. And then we got the guinea pigs. And I will say this, I've had a lot of pets in my life, and guinea pigs are by far the dumbest animal I've ever seen in my entire
You
life.
have
Yeah.
well, you have met my dog, but my
Your-
dog's
your dog
up
is,
there.
Your dog is brilliant compared to my guinea pig. You hand them a blueberry, and if it falls, they have no idea where it went. They just
Boy.
stare at you with big eyes, like, where did it go?
Oh,
Like, where's the
no.
next blueberry? They completely rely on us, which is sad.
Yeah.
But.
The-
So and you're in the vet program? Is
Yeah.
it small animal, big animal?
We're in
Eh,
small.
so
Small.
during the vet program, you learn about both like small and large animal, and after you graduate, you kind of get to choose like what you want to specialize in. We both want to specialize in small animal. She wants to do like shelter medicine and general practitioner. I want to do emergency medicine. So we both have a lot of experience probably with those exotics things.
Nice.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Well, and how much longer do you have to go?
1 year.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
almost done.
Congratulations.
Almost
It's a little
done.
terrifying.
Well, when you guys are done, we'll have you back on the show. We'll pour really good whiskey for you,
Oh, that
and
would-
yes.
we'll try whatever this shit is again.
Yep.
And we'll,
So make sure.
Is this recorded so we can just play this back to you and take you up on the offer?
Yeah.
No worries.
It's-
Not a problem.
So if you grab our little flyer there, you can find us on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram and reach out to us there.
Yeah,
But I am going to
this
say I
bunch
think
of
we need to
mosquitoes are
wrap
just
up because the
getting-
mosquitoes,
mosquitoes
are
are
getting
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
Well, thank you
Florida.
guys for
Welcome
coming
to
on.
But
And
thank you
thank
guys.
you for sharing.
No
We
worries.
appreciate it.
I'm so
Absolutely.
glad I never even thought of giving you Guardiente, so I'm so
Never had it.
excited.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Until
New
the Columbia
experiences,
came and she's
right?
like, I'm getting aguardiente.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, and thank you guys.
you.
Follow us.
100%.
Feel free to send in some comments. We'll have you on when you're done.
Yes.
Sounds
Promise.
good.
All right.
We'll have aguardiente.
Thanks, guys.
Break.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy. All right, we done?
We're done.
We're officially an hour and a half. That's
Yeah, that went long.
yeah.
So my
Good
in-law
rep.
also does
Yeah,
the
there was just like
podcast,
a
so
cloud of mosquitoes. that
I
just
know,
came
it's
around
bad.
you.
Thank you guys for stopping by. We
No
appreciate
worries.
it.
That was actually really lovely. You guys had a good spread.
We'll have you on again. We'll have
yeah, truly.
it's like out of nowhere, man.
I like test. Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now? Oh, hey, there it is. What about Sorrel's not having a job anymore? Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did turn it his 2 weeks. He turned that in this afternoon, right? Is he getting on? Do they still do that? I kind of assume that sort of event would get like canceled once they got like. Still hear me? Hello? Test, test. Test. There we go. Hey, sorry, I closed my laptop lid and it like puts the computer to sleep very briefly before it swaps over the display.